Thank you, that's right, you, the person who literally just hit the play button. You don't know how much I appreciate the fact that you are tuning in to this episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my guest to you right away, but before I do that, I want to take a moment just to say that the DTP is 100% fan supported. So when I say I literally could not do this without you guys hitting that subscribe button, sharing these episodes, telling your friends about it, and just even giving me the feedback that you do every single week. Without you guys, this dream could not be possible. You are amazing. If you're new to the show, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's kick off another fantastic episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Music, athletics, arts, and entertainment. The Desert Tiger Podcast with Colton Geschwantner.
And as you just heard, that is me, your host, here every single week on the Desert Tiger Podcast. My name is Colton G. I hope you are having a great day, no matter what time you are choosing to tune in to the DTP. Welcome. This week on the podcast, my guests are Carried Away. At least 3 members of the band Carried Away. Carried Away is a female-fronted pop-punk band from Toronto, Canada, that was formed in 2015 by a group of friends willing to pursue their passion in alternative music. It currently consists of Madison Crombie, Daniel Alexandrov, Alex Koval, and Justin Fabian. Combining the catchy, upbeat sounds of early 2000s pop-punk, mixed with the angrier, heavy emotions of modern-day emo alternative, the band has created a unique sound, although familiar and recognizable, and we're going to discuss why that is later on in this interview, is clearly and undoubtedly their own. Filled with a raw intensity, edgy guitar riffs, thumping bass and drums, as well as catchy, powerful vocal hooks, it continues to deliver a truly powerful emotional impact to the audience. Today, I am going to be speaking with Madison, Alex, and Daniel from the band Carried Away. I am very excited, and they are too, because they are working up to the release of a brand new EP album dropping later this year. They've already dropped 3 singles coming up to that, and not only that, they are currently on their first run of Western Canada, so they have a lot of exciting things going on. There is a lot going on in the future, and we are going to discuss all of this. Plus, we're going to get a little bit nerdy during the episode as well. We're going to talk a little bit of video games, and then we're going to bring it right back to the upcoming album, what it means to them personally, the inspiration behind it, and just what is the message that they are trying to present to their listener. So this is going to be a conversation that is full of passion. I am very, very excited to get it started. But of course, before we can get it started, you guys know that we need to bump some tunes, get your feet grooving. Gotta play you guys a little bit of that new Carried Away. And this song that I'm going to be playing for you first is their latest single. They literally just dropped it not that long ago at all. You can also find it on my Canadian punk and hardcore playlist. I hope that you guys enjoy the sounds of Forever Lost.
Can we get some answers? Minds can't get much faster. Getting free, she told me I fell before. Explain
the Desert Tiger Podcast.
We're here with 3 of the members of Carried Away. Would you like to introduce yourselves and what you do in the band, please?
My name is Alex, I play guitar.
I'm Daniel, I also play guitar.
And I'm Madison, I sing.
Alright, fantastic. So we're here with 3 of the members. Can we get into how did Carried Away end up coming together? What is the birth of the band?
Kijiji.
Kijiji?
Literally the internet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so...
Yeah.
That's how it kind of started, and then it's just like friends from music scene. Like I knew Daniel from before, so I invited him in the band when we needed a guitarist.
Yeah, I think there was an ad and we contacted each other and
Okay.
we kind of clicked and we were like, okay, we met and we jammed some music and we're like, oh yeah, let's start doing this. We worked together for about a year and then we got some songs together and yeah.
Okay. So, do you have previous band experience before you guys, decided to jump into the looking for section of the internet, or was this sort of your first dive into the musical realm?
I've played in a couple bands. The first was more of the covers, and then the second one I just wasn't clicking as well with the genre, and it was the situation where the singer wanted to write everything ourselves and didn't have anyone to do creative input, and I'm the person who likes to write a lot, so I decided to do something different, and that's how I found Justin, who's our drummer, who contacted me through KTG, and then, yeah.
I actually had played in a few bands in high school. I think actually my first gig ever was this place, Smiling Buddha Bar. It was doing my last year of high school, and then even in high school, we had an official high school rock band too. That was kind of part of it. It was kind of cool. So, and we just the covers of popular songs.
Official high school rock band?
You know how there's a band a high school band.
Yeah.
So we also had one for just a rock band.
Really?
Yeah. We had two kids had to try out and
What?
Yeah.
Is that a thing at
Yeah.
least? Wow, I've never heard of that.
I never heard about that until I got into the high school either, but it was pretty cool.
That is actually kind of amazing that they support that kind of artistic.
Yeah, and then we played
realms.
a couple shows for the school,
Right.
and that was it.
Really? So they put you in front of an audience. And,
Yeah.
did they have a teacher help you learn the songs?
Yeah,
and-
it was one of the music teachers who was organizing everything.
Really?
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool of him because
Cool.
he's also he himself was in the local band.
Mm-hmm.
I think he still might be doing music actually but yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So once you guys hit the ground running, was it were you guys playing covers, getting comfortable with things? Were you immediately writing your own tracks? What was the story behind that?
I never really had band experience before. I was in choir in school and I think when we really started, we kind of played a few covers to jam and kind of get to know each other, and then we kind of hit the ground running and we're like, let's try this, let's try that. We kind of sat down together and talked about the kind of music that we wanted to play and write, and it was a lot of fun actually in the beginning stages of everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we spent maybe 8 months to a year just kind of jamming out and just making some songs that we're kind of happy with. We didn't really play any shows until we actually released some material.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we wanted to kind of get to know each other too, learn how each other played, what kind of music we liked, and how that would all come together collaboratively for the music that we wanted to create.
Okay, so rather doing what some bands think that they have to do and playing as many shows as possible, you guys wanted to make sure that you had a solid repertoire of tunes to go off of once you actually hit the stage then.
Yeah, I think that's what we wanted. We didn't want to play 6 cover songs in one original. We wanted to play one cover song and 6 originals.
So right off the start, you guys knew that you wanted this to be yourselves, your own voices, and to be something special and not just producing and rehashing something that you've already loved and played 100 times over.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, yeah. Not that we don't love doing that. We
Well,
still do
of
it when we're
course.
at practice, for
Of
sure.
course. And there is a place for that, but I feel that too many bands today kind of rely on that hook of like, all right, let's play a classic song in this genre just to try and get everyone hooked in, and hopefully that'll keep them hooked.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it. That's
The band I used to play in, we had a rule where it was like, no covers.
I think
Ever.
ever, really.
Ever. We played one Canada Day show where we did one set of covers. Other than that, it was just a straight no-go.
Smart.
Yeah, we actually released a single and a music video before we played our first show.
Okay.
Yeah, so that kind of got traction going, and our first show, it wasn't just like 3 kids, it was actually like pretty full, and people knew the songs that were released. It was fun.
Only think that that's really like that. The only reason that happened is because we had help from like the industry. Like we had made friends like going out to bars at night and just like kind of like talking to people around, and like you just like talk about like, oh, what do you think would be the best way to do this, and everybody's like pretty friendly and like is happy to talk about it. So we kind of had help from like in the background as well to help us like kind of release it in a certain way so that we could get that pull, that traction.
Definitely. You guys got yourself out there and built those connections early on, which a lot of people don't realize are actually very crucial to not only longevity, but to the start of one's career.
And everybody, like, most people in the Toronto scene are really nice and awesome. And I've always been just so welcoming and excited for fresh music, new music. It's awesome.
Which is fantastic. It's always seemed to have been one of the bigger arts scenes and cultures in Canada, which is fantastic. There's a lot of things coming out of Toronto, and I'm very excited that some of those bands are making their way out west, like you guys are.
Yeah.
Just fantastic. Is this guys like your first like full like Canadian run?
Yeah, this is our first time.
Okay, cool. Like, have you guys done like small Eastern runs beforehand to get a little bit of tour experience?
We've done a little like small 4 or 5 day runs in Ontario, like just around like London, Ontario, like Hamilton, Oshawa, Sarnia, all those places. So.
Okay.
And we also hit up Montreal too.
Montreal, Ottawa. Montreal was always fun to play.
Yeah, Montreal is awesome.
Montreal is, I don't know what it is about that city. There's just an energy to it where just like art thrives.
Oh,
And
it's so awesome.
It's like just stepping inside of that city just gives me energy and makes me want to literally jump off walls.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with that.
Love the place so much. So, if you didn't really have much of musical experience beforehand, do you do most of the lyrical writing like yourself?
Yeah.
Or so was there a period where you had to get comfortable with doing that, or were you writing lyrics before you had gotten in the band?
I think I've been writing poetry probably since I was 10.
Okay.
I was really into English when I was in elementary school and high school. I loved reading and writing poetry. Literally would just sit in the library at lunch like and read like a little loser. So I think when I've always loved music, it's always been something that has moved me. So when it came to kind of putting them both together, the poetry and the music, it was a little bit of like a finding your footing, but once I got there, I felt comfortable. Yeah.
Okay. So I know that Alex mentioned earlier that like previous bands, some people tried to take the full reins. With Carried Away, do you feel that it's more of a group effort, like you guys are actually all putting in your key pieces of the band? And
it's definitely a lot more of a group effort, and I think it's working out a lot better, and I feel a lot more comfortable than I was before. Because before, like, as I said, in my old band, it was the singer who would write, like, everything, chord progressions, the drum style, and vocals, and I would just feel like I'm a touring member of the band as opposed to someone with creative input. But here we all have, I feel like, an equal share of our contributions. So in some songs, it's more of one member, some songs more of the other, but it's usually pretty equal.
And honestly, we talk to each other. Communication is so important. Like, do you like this? If you don't like this, let's talk about it. Let's write something different. What can we do to improve it, to make it better, so that we can all feel comfortable with it? You know, like, we want to make sure that what we put out, we're all happy with. That's so important.
Okay, so with that, you guys saying that you feel that you're putting in a lot of energy and a lot of good work towards you doing. You guys have released a lot of singles, and you're working towards a bigger release later on in this year, if I do believe so. Do you guys want to speak a little bit about those singles, what they mean for you, and what the plans are for the rest of the year?
Alex, do you want to start that off, and then I can follow you?
Basically, we did the first 2 singles, Expectations in July, we did with Sam Goyana a bit earlier, who worked with Lake Pacific, Rarity, a lot of other bands, and
Great
those
catalog.
two...
He's honestly like an amazing producer. I love working with him.
And I feel like with those 2 singles, we started finding footing is like in like our own unique sound. Like, we figure out a lot more how to write, if we want to sound like, and everything. So we recorded them, and then we threw it out there to see people's reaction and everything. And then earlier this year, we came back to Sam to record
The rest of the EP.
the rest of the
Okay.
EP.
Attempt to put out later, which is super exciting. I think I'm not very as open about this as I guess I would like to be, but a lot went on in 2016 for us as a group. Like, we lost a lot, and it's exciting to actually finally have this music and be ready to put it out, because we did go through a time where it was hard to write music.
Yes.
And so it's exciting, and I think all the songs on the EP will touch on that time, kind of going over the emotions that we felt in that time and what we went through, and kind of starting over, I guess.
Okay, so even though it's essentially almost a beginning, because do you guys have an EP before this?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
It's called Intrepid.
Okay.
It's on all streaming sites if you want to check it out. But it was our first EP. We put that out before we started playing any shows.
Okay. All right. What was the first single that you guys released?
It was called Actions.
Okay.
Back at like late 2015. It was more of like a fast pop punk.
Like December 2015.
December 2015.
How has the sound of the band evolved since the release of Action to the new work?
Forever Lost is our newest single.
Yes.
That is also on all streaming sites. Check it out.
Yes, just dropped. Just dropped.
Yeah,
Daniel, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
yeah. This so the way how our sound evolves, it's kind of pretty interesting, because we started off kind of keeping things simple, but now it's just what's happening is like we're still maintaining that simplicity while adding like more detail to it, you know. So it's just like it's basically like, you know, like you're making a painting, you know. First you just have the stickman figure, and then you just kind of you have also just a person, you know. It's not, but it's just like there's just more detail to that person, you know. It's just another stickman. So, and I feel like we're definitely changing a bit from the pop punk genre as well. Like, just like we're kind of adding more elements like from different genres. So just kind of like we don't limit ourselves just to like pop punk.
Yeah.
It's just like
I think that's
we
important.
just like
Very
like when I
important.
write music, like when we write music, it's you know, the whole point of music is to kind of express what you feel and like make sure people can relate to it. And if I come up with something, or someone comes up with something that does that job, then if it's not pop punk, then but it works. So it does its job as music.
And I think that we write in a way that we want to express our emotions, but we want to let them out and let them go, and we want to like promote love and healing and acceptance in everything and everywhere. And I think we always find a way, even if the lyrics can get a little dark for a minute, we always find a way to kind of like give you that little hope, you know. And I think that we try to do that as well, which is important.
I think over time we realized that like limiting ourselves in the terms of one genre is just limits of what we can express in music. There are a couple songs on repeat that are like that wouldn't be even considered pop punk like at all.
I'm excited for those ones to come out, because I'm excited to see what people think of them and how they react to them, because it's the direction that I definitely want to be going.
And definitely, you have to follow your heart as opposed to following a genre, because, and I've said it with multiple of my guests before, where it's, if you're trying to chase what's being done, you're chasing what's already being done. If you're following your heart and you're trying to push what's next, you're actually could be creating that next trend, that next thing. And that's it, is how is music supposed to be evolved if we're constantly trying to chase everyone's last achievements?
Yeah, but another thing to keep in mind though is like if you wanted to catch up, like to catch on with the people, it has to be like be familiar, you know, because if it's too extreme, if it's like too new, then like people will be like, nah, this is too much. It's kind of like, and you see that those trends like in marketing all the time, like the first like touchscreen came out like what, in the 90s, no one bought it, and it's like because no one's familiar with it. It's kind of the same thing with music too. It's like I mean, look at all the songs that are being popular right now. They're like kind of, there's a lot of sampling going on. There's like a lot of like big like people kind of being inspired from other people. So I think like the best way to go about it is just like, you know, you create something new, but at the same time you
Let those inspirations
like,
influence you.
yeah, let the old stuff influence, like, and like so it's like there's like, because like people like psychologically like are wired to like both familiarity and something that's new. So like having like combination of those two things is like the most optimal thing.
Yes, absolutely. As you definitely want to pay homage to the things that helped bring you to where you are, but you don't want to get caught within those.
Exactly.
So, having just brought up inspirations, let's get into some of those classic bands, those can't live witouts, those high school heroes, those inspirations that got you through those hard times. Let me know.
Speaking of hard times. Just kidding. Go ahead, Alex.
Okay, I'll start, I guess, then. When I was maybe like 10 or 12 years old, and I had an older cousin who jammed to punk music, and he would just like leave me a bunch of New Fangoria and Blink CDs. And that's kind of how it started. I had one of those like the boombox, the CD players, and I used to play like Blink, again, New Fangoria, and at first I couldn't get into it, but then when I did, I started picking it up and it more, and then like eventually it was like all I listened to.
Just took over your entire repertoire.
It took over, and then I started like looking at the MTV, and I got into bands like Simple Plan, got into bands like Sum 41. I guess that's what like my early teenage years. That kind of what was I listened to, and then my taste kind of expanded. I started listening to more like alternative and heavier music as well, and then I caught on the new pop punk trend when it came out in like 2010, 2011, with all those bands like The Story So Far.
Okay, so those started catching you once again, sort of with their vibe and whatnot. Okay.
Cool. Definitely like something to look at. I think I started off with like Bryan Adams, Motley Crue, Papa Roach type of music with my family, and then kind of just evolved. I was always drawn to powerful female vocals, so like No Doubt was always a huge one for me. Paramore, obviously. Nikki Sixx, I can't pronounce any names. My mom listened to that a lot. Blondie, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I guess probably like Tonight Alive, Paramore, Simple Plan, all those like have heavily influenced like the music that I like to write, I think.
You're looking for Stevie Nicks?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Huge fan.
Yes,
Huge
me
fan.
too, but I can't pronounce her name apparently.
Oh, it's
Hello.
okay. It's okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Motley Crue completely went off and tried to rip it off when they went and made their name. So.
Oh man, I love that. Don't ever tell my aunt that. We might have a fight on our hands.
Yeah, when I was little, so when I was 7 years old, I had this idea as a 7-year-old boy that the more distortion there is in music, like in guitar distortion, the cooler it is. I don't know why I thought that. So like I was just like drawn to like rock music, and like when I was like 7 or 8, my dad brought one time brought home like these 2 POD CDs, like those. I think it was like Alive and the other one that came out in 1999, and like I just kind of started listening from there, and I just like for some reason I was just drawn to like really heavy music as a kid, and just like I would just like listen to POD, then I'll expand more to like these other bands like Linkin Park, stuff like that. And then when I got to high school, that's when I just like started listening to metalcore. Like right now, like my favorite band is August Burns Red. Unfortunately, I'm gonna miss them. They're gonna play in Toronto on September 7th with Devil Wears Prada, but you know what?
We're here on tour.
Tour life.
I saw them live at least 10 times, but I still want to see them. But you know what? It is what it is.
When it's one of your favorite bands, it doesn't matter how many times you've seen them, right? It's
exactly.
You could go 100 different times, and it's always an experience.
Yeah. But yeah, I actually never really got into pop punk. It was always like metalcore stuff. And then like just throughout high school when I started getting older, like I just like kind of started expanding to pretty much any kind of genre. Like got into like 21 Pilots, started listening to stuff like that, like listening to like jazz, and then like even like Christian praise and worship music, like Bethel music or like Hillsong. It's just like I don't know, because I like the simplicity of it and like so yeah, my inspiration is like musically is pretty much all over the place. It's like anything but pop punk somehow. And
very eclectic.
Yeah.
And here I am playing in a pop punk band.
I understand that because like I technically was a metalhead as well, and I got pulled into a pop punk band, and it was like for the first little while I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, you guys, and then it was like as soon as we hit the stage and started playing the music, it was like I love this.
Yeah, it's because it's fun, you know. Because if you're a musician, like no matter what you're playing, it's gonna be fun.
No, and it is like this type of music, like that alternative scene. It allows you to just have that fun with your music. Where sometimes in the metalcore, you see a lot of the musicians where they feel like they have to take themselves so seriously or whatnot, and within this realm, it's just like I can be as goofy as I want to be because who really cares?
Yes, it's like the aesthetic is sarcasm, and sometimes when you're on stage, you can use that, and it's great. It's the best.
Oh, as long as you're willing to rock it, I mean,
100%. Own it.
Exactly, right? I mean, and that once again just goes back to following your heart and being yourself. Because I mean,
exactly.
If you try to be anything else on stage, people are going to be able to tell.
100%. People know when you're not yourself, and people don't like that. Though, if you aren't who you are, then people will know immediately and not treat you the same, right? You want to be who you are because it's so much better.
Yes, absolutely.
Honesty has got to be the best policy. And believe me that I'm being honest when I say that we have a lot more of this conversation with Daniel, Maddie, and Alex of Carried Away coming up for you guys very shortly. Of course, you guys know I need to play you another single that they have dropped that is going to be on that upcoming release that they are building up to, that they are working all that steam up for. I hope that you guys are excited for it because you can literally feel the excitement in their voices as I am talking to them. Like, just going through and editing this. That's right, we're breaking the fourth wall here. Oh my goodness, I'm editing my own product. As I'm editing this, you can literally feel the passion and the energy coming off of them of how proud they are of what they are creating, and I love it. I also love all of the people who have gone ahead and ordered their Desert Tiger t-shirts from me. As you guys heard at the top of the show, this podcast right now is 100% fan supported. So those people who are literally willing to wear us on their back, on their chest, and rep us in front of their friends, their family, their hometown, their set, whatever it is, I am so very thankful that you guys for doing that, because you are helping me get one step closer to actually turning Desert Tiger into a full-fledged media production, promotion, like beast here. Like I said, I want to rebuild the Western Canadian scene. I want to rebuild this bridge, and I am so happy that this band Carried Away is touring Western Canada. We need more bands from out west, out east, and we need more bands from out east, out west. You guys, we need to make this happen. Alright, so before I just keep on rambling forever, I need to play you another song by Carried Away. So I hope that you guys are ready for some expectations.
Thought of that. I know you thought this year was just full of tears. You never called to admit that the story I was on your side. You told me that I never saw the ground. Now you're here, just too clear. You expect me to pick up and resume where we left off. When I was different, seasons change. I can't promise I will stay the same. This isn't something I'll miss. You yourself and a kiss. I can't help feeling you weren't at all hiding yourself so no one could feel the real behind the plastic. Using all of your made-up tactics. Do you really want to be everlasting? I'm just asking. Now you're here, just too clear. Something you haven't had for years. You expect me to pick up and resume where we left off. When I was different, seasons change. I can't promise I will stay the same. This isn't something I'll miss. You yourself and a first kiss. You can't see we don't wanna be part of your vapid tapestry. You always chose rest, holding on so tight as I'm tied up and horrified. Do you understand what's happening here? Full of smoke and mirrors. You expect me to pick up and resume where we left off. When I was different, seasons change. We both know because we're not the same. This isn't something I'll miss. You yourself and a thirst. Yes, oh. You yourself and a thirst.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
So, one of the things that we touched on earlier, so as the listeners know, these guys are running on a little bit of a tight schedule, so this is going to be a quick interview today. We'll get them another time. Don't worry. So, we mentioned video games before we got into it earlier, so let's dive a little bit into it. What are your guys' key video games? What got you gaming hard? What was your first step into the gaming realm, your first touch of a controller? And what do you love to play now?
So hard. NES was probably the first controller I ever touched.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario 3. Love the cartridge, always.
Yes.
On that little TV with the dial knobs in your house, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kidding myself, probably. But, honestly, and now probably I play PS4. Love RPGs.
Mm-hmm.
Love me some good old GameCube Nintendo, though. Anything like that.
GameCube is a hidden treasure.
It is such a hidden treasure. People are like, oh, I don't remember that one. I'm like, guys, it was my childhood. Stop.
The RPGs that came out on that game and only that system are just...
And it was at the time when graphics were easier to fast produce because they weren't as refined as they are now. So they could just pump out games for every movie that came out, every book that came out. They were just pumping out these games like left, right, and center. It's a good time
And
in the
there's
game.
just so much to play.
100%. What about you guys? Do you guys, Alex, Daniel?
Yeah, I started with PC gaming just when I was little, and like the game for me is Halo Combat Evolved, like the very first Halo game. That is like, honestly, just like I have so many great memories playing that game. It's like even now I'll still go back to it and play it. It just brings so many nostalgia to it.
Well, that was a
Yeah.
game changer for
Yeah,
a lot of
like-
people.
Like I think it was like the first game to introduce like limited amount of weapons you can carry. It's like the first game to introduce like vehicles where you can actually engage with the vehicles and stuff. Like the first game to introduce like different face designs for different characters. Like before that, all characters had the same face designs. Right? So it's like that game changed like the genre. Like it defined the genre really. It's like
Expanded.
and then like I played the original Far Cry. That was a fun game.
It's a good game, actually.
Yeah, it's not the same like the way it is Far Cry now, but
The original Assassin's Creed was also really good.
Oh,
The first one, the storyline was so
The first
so
one was
involved
so
with
good.
it. So involved with it. It was like afterwards when they started bringing in like the esoteric, like let's get like really really far out with it. It was like okay, like my mind is blown, but like hey.
Now I'm a little far-fetched here. I'm not sure how I'm feeling.
Honestly, it was huge in the Ubisoft game before that, Prince of Persia, which is like kind of like a pre-game to the Assassin's Creed. It has like a similar idea, and the storyline was so good. And then after the
Amazing
third one, they
games.
kind of went off and released that cartoonish graphics one that wasn't as good as like a revamp. And then, but then when they put out Assassin's Creed 1, I played it and I was like, yo, this is great. I'm stoked on it. So I really enjoyed that game as well. Right now, I just play Zelda. Breath of the Wild was always a huge fan of those series, so I'm just trying to
Just
finish it.
epic.
We're lucky
Epic
to have the
series.
Switch on tour. So we were playing Mario Kart in the van.
See how amazing
and like it's rad, yeah.
is that? Because like
100%.
before it was like okay, if you wanted to try and do that, is like can you put a system inside the vehicle
Put a
without
TV in there.
with that, and then like the discs can get scratched up. Like
That's
how is
important.
this gonna work? And now it's just like oh plop
exactly.
technology.
Love
Honestly,
it.
that's such a good thing that they've done. Like, I think it's one of the best things that happened recently with gaming, because with Switch you can actually play full featured games and like take it on the go, not just play like the stuff like Game Boy and stuff that's not like the same.
Although we did love the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy. It's close to our hearts.
It is, but it's just like they would release a lot of games with the same title, but they would be
Completely
so
different.
restricted.
Oh my god. I don't know if you ever played The Sims, but I was a big fan of The Sims. I feel like a
Yes.
lot of ladies, you're with me here, you love The Sims. And on the computer, it's so different than it is on the GameCube, on the Xbox, on anything. So different. Gameplay is so different. But
Oh, it's so much slower on the GameCube because it's just like you're trying to catch up with your people and it's like I can't move the cursor this fast.
yeah, where'd you go?
I can't keep you happy.
Honestly, even something like on tour, like even something like a cell phone will work. Just like playing Plants vs Zombies on the phone.
He's obsessed with that game.
It's an amazing game in its simplicity, so I
Yeah.
can't blame him at all. I've got it on my PC, and
Yeah.
even with like the amount of RPGs and action games and everything else, it's just some days you just
Yeah.
need to sit down and
Yeah, or like the complete opposite of that, like a game like Civilization. It's like, where it's like everything's super complicated. I'm actually literally like I'm checking Steam right now like every day. Just because I'm waiting for it to go on sale. Like, I want to buy Civilization 5.
oh man, download Steam's thing onto your phone and
Yeah, I do have it on my phone. I just
Oh, yeah.
I check it, like, every day. Okay, is this
Check
game-
oh yeah,
It's
it,
on
like
sale.
it sends me alerts every day for
Yeah.
what's on my wish list.
Oh,
So if you
yeah.
throw it on your wish list, it'll actually tell you when it goes on sale.
Okay, thank you for telling me.
Yeah. Yeah, so like every time something on my wish list goes on sale, I get like a pop-up on my phone.
That's rad.
Yeah, so just throw it on your wish list and it'll hook you up.
Yeah, God bless Gabe for making Steam, right?
Yeah,
Oh
good
my
old Gabe.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
As he sucks your wallet into your computer.
Oh, the sales aren't nearly as good lately though,
Okay.
so being able to not fall into that hole is a lot easier these days.
That's a good thing. What about you? What about you? You gotta tell us your favorite game, then.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I've always been a huge RPG person.
Yeah.
Personally, Final Fantasies have always been big. Like Pokemon and its simplicity is probably got to be like the biggest thing for me. I've been playing that game since it originally came out, and
how did you feel when Pokemon Go came out then?
Okay, so like as a diehard Pokemon person, like there was like little things about it that were just like, yeah, but it was like as soon as I was willing to let those go and just accept it for what it was like, it was fun.
Awesome.
Because it's actually like you interact with people that normally like you wouldn't interact with, because like let's face it, the type of people that play this game normally aren't like going to be those type of people that are gonna like talk to you when they're walking by you in public.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the type of people that are going to try and initiate a conversation or anything else.
Or it's not as easy for them.
Exactly, like they're not comfortable doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's like, and this immediately gives them something where like they can talk to you, and it's like, you've got jocks playing this game where like, and they can totally just talk to somebody where like 8 years ago when they were in high school, like they couldn't be talking to each other, but it's like now this game like completely just broke down the wall, and it's like, oh, fantastic.
Good. And I hope that, like, I think that hopefully is the trend.
Like,
keep knocking.
Mm-hmm. I hope that we keep knocking down those barriers of like everybody thinks that they have to be a specific way, and because it kind of keeps everybody from being themselves.
In a bubble, yeah, so much.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say I added that game on Civ 5 on my wish list just now.
Just now, all right, making it
right
happen.
Important.
All right.
Priorities.
Okay, so like we said, this one's got to be a little bit short. So before I ask my last question of this interview, where can my listeners find out more about Carried Away?
Well, we have a website. Alex, what's the website?
CarriedAwayOfficial.com, and we also have Facebook /CarriedAwayOfficial, Instagram /CarriedAwayOfficial, and Twitter /CarriedAway on like Ontario.
At Carried Away Official for our Facebook and our Instagram, and then at Carried Away ON for our Twitter. We update those if you want to know what's going on with us.
YouTube, we got YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube as well. If you want to know what's going on with us, definitely check those out. We have merch on sale on our website too, so if you see anything that we're posting on tour that you like, check out our website. You can purchase it there. And what else, guys? What else? Our music's on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play. Watch our lyric videos, music videos on YouTube, and I promise you there's definitely so much more to come in the upcoming months for us and for Carried Away.
All right, fantastic. So I asked you guys a little bit earlier in the interview, like, about what the future holds. So we've spoken a little bit, like, can we dive more into this EP? What it truly means to you and the message that you are trying to get across, not only from yourself but to the listener. What are you trying to bring forward with this essentially child that you're giving? Because I mean, let's face it, this is what you do as musicians. You give birth to something.
Yeah. I feel like everybody has their own kind of like excitement about the record and different ways why they're excited about it. I personally think, like, from my, I guess, lyrical personal perspective, this album is really just about healing for us. We lost a best friend and a dad and a grandpa and all these people that we respected and looked up to and looked for guidance when we were lost. And I think this is just a description of that. Kind of like, for me anyways. What do you guys think? Daniel, Alex, what do you think about this, I guess, baby as you would say that we are birthing.
Honestly, for me, it's about like finding the new ground. It's a starting over, it's a finding a ground, both music and lyrics and
Life in general.
in life and footing and like in our music and in who we want to be both as people and musicians.
For me, it's just like something like it that for me to see how much I changed over the years and like how much, how different I am, and it's like basically, just something like to go to like basically like with the way how music progressed, it's like I can see, okay, this is guess like how I changed, like with the way I think and
Growth.
and I just hope people like will really enjoy it and like will enjoy the new directions that we're taking it in.
I think it's an album of growth and healing. That's really what it was for us, and I hope for other people it can be an album that kind of opens their mind to if they are feeling like they can't start over, like they've started over so many times and they're just like, oh my god, enough is enough, like I've done this so many times, and like just take that last little step. Like you're right there, and I know that it feels like trash, but get back up, because one bad day, 6 bad days, 10 bad days is not worth your life. It's not worth that.
And you can't let it knock you down.
Exactly.
Forever.
And that's the power and the message I hope that we share with this album.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking very forward to it.
Woo!
And I hope that as many people enjoy and indulge in that message as possible. Well, thank you guys so very much for joining me today on the show. I know that you guys have a quick drive here to Vancouver to play a show tonight.
Yes.
Woo woo.
We're playing a show with Chase Your Words, Along I Walk, who are the band we're touring with, and I believe RKX and Tulsi Place. It's going to be really fun.
It's going to be at 333 Clark Drive in Vancouver, BC. If
Okay.
anybody wants to, I guess, come out. It's going to be a good time.
All right. What's the rest of the tour looking like?
Going back home basically and just hitting up different towns on our way back.
Okay, so
it's going
from
to
the
be
west, just
Yeah.
heading right
Yeah.
back east, hey?
Yeah.
pretty much every major city. It's Calgary, Edmonton, Lethbridge.
Nelson, Regina, Winnipeg.
Saskatoon.
Unfortunately
not
not, which
Not
bums me out
Saskatoon.
so bad.
They're
I
playing
know.
Lethbridge though too.
Okay. All right,
Lethbridge
so you
really
got
good.
Lethbridge instead.
Yeah, we tried really hard to make Saskatoon date work. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
It's just the way the tours happen, right? I mean, I know that I tried getting you guys here for last night, but just couldn't snag a venue, so... But of course, Revelstoke stepped up and had you guys covered, so...
Yeah, which was
woo,
nice.
Revelstoke.
Woo! Heck yeah, they were so lovely. Everyone there was so awesome and nice.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
Do you think we can get like a sponsorship from Steam and like and Nintendo? Because I feel like we plug their products pretty good here.
Hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully
Well,
we can.
I do want to say thank you for having us, because it was lovely to meet you.
Yeah.
You're such a cool dude. It was lovely to meet you.
You guys are very cool as well.
Yeah, it's a shame we only get to hang out for like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Like I
and-
said, we'll make it happen another time, right?
We will. We will
That's the
definitely.
way the tour life works.
And unfortunately, it's time for what some of you keep telling me is the saddest part of this podcast. That's right, it's time for the outro. So first and foremost, I want to go ahead and thank Alex, Daniel, and Maddie for stopping on their way to Vancouver from Revelstoke in the middle of their Western Canadian tour with Alone I Walk. They had a very limited period of time to stop in, but they still made the time, and I am so very thankful from the bottom of my heart. If you are living in Western Canada and you are in one of the following cities, you definitely should check out this tour of Alone I Walk and Carried Away. It's a fantastic bill. If you are a longtime listener of this podcast, you know that Alone I Walk has been on twice. You know that they are making amazing music right now. So if you are in Edmonton tonight, you can see them at the Buckingham. If you are in Lethbridge on September Friday the 7th, you can catch them at the Slice. If you are in Regina, Saturday, September the 8th, they're playing at the Mercury Cafe, a venue that I am very familiar with and very fond of. And if you want to catch them on the Sunday in Ohlone Walk's hometown of Winnipeg, you can see them at the Park Theater. I'm sure that there are event pages for all of this, or you can contact either band to find out more about the show. Of course, if you want to hear more of Carried Away, like they said, you can find them on all streaming services. And both of the tracks that we played today by Carried Away, of course, can be found on those streaming services. Those songs, of course, being Forever Lost and Expectations. And I once again want to give another thank you to Carried Away for allowing me to play those during this episode. So safe travels to them on the road. I hope they make it home safely. And to you, the listeners here at the podcast, once again, thank you so very much for tuning in to this episode. If you're not already a subscriber of the podcast, what are you waiting for? And if you want to take your love one step further, you can give this episode a share, or you can review the podcast. That is absolutely free. If you want a Desert Tiger t-shirt, reach out to us on any of our social media and we will get them in your hands. It is $30 with shipping, no matter where you want it sent. I don't give a fuck. Alright, you guys, have a good weekend.